it's going to be an interesting concept to look and just see how the teams decide that was wide open. How the how the teams are going to actually take this. As we've seen, if you've been online, you've watched some. Obviously, the Americans get hold of it and take it through. So the difference aspect is how are they going to break it up? You know, where each team member is going to go through every movement. So that's a bit of a standard first. But it's a case of, are you going to try and save your one athlete because you know they're stronger on the bag, or are you going to let them wait later because they're weaker on the bag? So it's down to the concept of what do you think is going to work best for your team. It's not an easy workout in no matter which way you look at it. Just the fact that it's 150 double unders sounds easy. You know, for most of these athletes, they are semi-professional athletes. It's going to be a lot easier to do. But it's down to your member that's going to hold on to that sandbag. You know, the fact that that's a 200 pound for the guys, 150 pound for the ladies. If your team member just doesn't have his dubs on the cards for today, you're going to sit out there, you're going to struggle. And as we've seen in some of the other countries, and I think you mentioned earlier, that the sandbags go from that sandbag straight into that worm clean and jerk is going to be vicious.
Sorry, there's a lot going on. All right, so we're going to move straight over to our heat lineup for the first event. Lining up from our seeding in 11th to 19th position. In lane 1, we've got Juggernaut Triumph. In lane number 3, we've got the Unboxed Rookies. This team just changing their name from the Fitbox Durbanville Rookies. In lane 4, CrossFit Bounty. Lane 5, CrossFit 111. Lane 6 and 7, we've got 2 Motley Crue CrossFit teams coming up from Cape Town. CrossFit Blue and CrossFit Red. And then in lane 8, we've got Packed Life Santon. And in lane 9, the RTF CrossFit Reapers. That is your lineup for the team's test 1. A number of these athletes are coming from previous semi-final experience, but a good amount of these athletes are also on the floor for the first time. A full lineup of South African teams, and then in lane number 5, one team representing Egypt.
So, so having actually visited that team at 111, they're a strong crew. Managed to go out last year to the L-Fit, which was a really good competition. And to see that 111 actually has 2 teams in here is phenomenal representation of obviously the continent of Africa. So it's a lot of fun in order to see that CrossFit's kind of not just almost South African based anymore, that there are teams coming from other regions and countries within obviously the continent of Africa, because that's, you know, we represent Africa as opposed to just mostly South Africa. Again, a lot of boxers seem to have 2 or 3 teams. I think Juggernaut's got 2 or 3.
3. Juggernaut has got the biggest team representation at this year's.
You got 3 from Juggernaut, you've got 2 from Motley Crue, you've got 2 from 111. There's a couple of other boxes I've also seen. I think Wolfpack's got 2. That's Cape CrossFit. You know, the thing is, there's a lot of representation from the team aspects for multiple teams from different boxes and facilities, which is always fantastic to see. See, now the teams are all starting to line up, get their gear together. The difference between, say, this and a normal standard competition, obviously there's no countdown. The athletes are given basically a 30-second window, and a 10-second window, and the buzzer can start anywhere in there. So it's not there's no element aspects counting in their head to be able to be like, oh, cool, 10 seconds, I'm going to go on one, what I hope is one. It just kind of makes it a little bit more exciting, and it kind of makes it fair across the board that each team is going to start when they hear the buzzer, as opposed to trying to game the system, if you want to call it that much.
That does just take out that chance of a lot of false starts happening on that 3-2-1 go that we've had in the past.
And as you know, athletes of any state, any sport, are always the ones looking for that absolute micro-millimeter edge that they can get over another athlete. So in order to take that out, I think it's really made it, it's thrown a blanket across all these teams, although they are still all only fighting for one position, but it's just allowed them to have a fair race. So call it what it is, it's a fair race.
Athletes are all setting up now, all on the start mat, getting ready to kick off the 2023 Rebel Renegade Games. This is our team's test number 1, and we are here in Johannesburg, South Africa.
I must be honest, it really is a beautiful arena at the moment. You can see here, beautifully put out there from the guys at Rebel. Of course, wonderful sponsors like Noble and CrossFit. This is the semi-final. So remembering that only one male, one female, and one team are going to be the ones that actually go through to the games.
There's a lot to fight for. 19 teams kicking off and one to punch a ticket at the end of the weekend.
On the lanes, though, it does look like we have one team that is a no-show. These are always unfortunate because, there's always an aspect that someone else would have been able to. I know we've had a few withdrawals, namely Dina Swift for the females and Dahlia as well. I think she's an athlete from Egypt, and she unfortunately also didn't make it through.
We are away. 2023 Rebel Renegade Games is officially underway. You'll see that the rules to kickstart this event, 2 men and 2 women must start on opposite ends of the field.
On your screen there, you saw some of these athletes starting off struggling to pick up that 200-pound bag straight off the back. Now, if you look there, his knees are locked out. He has to be in the upright position. I mean, that bag is not small by any means. I mean, I'm a 6'5" athlete with an orangutan arm wingspan, and I went down there earlier this morning and tried to pick those bags up. They are A, not small, and B, not light at all.
90 kilograms for most of our audience over here. That is way above a lot of these guys' body weight. So hanging onto that bag for the duration of 150 double unders is going to be something special.
Like we said, if your athlete, your teammate, you look here, these guys are watching their teammates with everything they've got. You see the judge's hand up there, just making sure that the legs are locked up. We've got a break here. It's that lane 1. They've already taken a bit of a breather.
That is CrossFit Juggernaut Triumph over here in the nearest lane to you on your screen.
My bet on this one is if you look back to the Egypt team, 1-1-1, that's Rio and Slam is his nickname, and they are viciously strong in their male contingency. I haven't actually had a chance to see their female athletes train, but having been out there and actually seen those athletes, they are strong. I don't think the bag hold's going to be the one for them. I think they might come a bit up and stuck in the run. That 800-meter run is a bit nasty. Looks like some of the athletes obviously taking a bit of a conservative look here. Look here, it's the Juggernauts in lane 1. Looking a little bit conservative for the ladies. Obviously, there's no point in racing because then it's that go, stop sort of mentality. You kind of want to just flow through and make sure you're still okay with when your men are going.
I think there's just that level of making sure that you can still get to your sandbag and the worm cleans and be a team player when you get to the worm, especially. If you gas yourself on one of these cardio machines, especially that assault bike, and you get to your set of 10 clean and jerks, you're going to have a bad time.
That, I'm not going to lie, I'm interested to see these guys go straight off the bag and onto that worm, because no matter how you look at it, that is going to be horrific. It's just, you've, like I said, you've held 90 kilos on your chest, and now you're waiting in order to be able to go and then lift up that sandbag. I think that sandbag is 200 kilos across all 4.
Yeah,
I mean, the worm, the worm.
160 kilograms is that worm, that rogue worm.
You can see that this 90 kilos, that definitely looks like it's well above this athlete's body weight here. He looks like he could be like a 75, 80 kg athlete.
We're focusing now on CrossFit FBDV, the rookies. This is their second team. We've got Evan Gilmore trying to pick up that bag.
He does not look like a happy camper, but there you go. He's up. He's ready to rumble. Remember, there was an English word in there. The other teammate can only start or continue his dubs as long as that sandbag is up and in the bear hug position.
And you can see the judges. There are 4 judges per lane for this event. The judge on the sandbag just making sure that they are notifying their second judge on the double unders that the bag is indeed up.
It's going to be a crack. Remember that each team member is going to have a chance to get on every single element of this workout. So they'll go from the run or the ass bike, or the double unders or the bear hug straight into 10 worm cleans, and then they rotate through. So you're not going to escape. There's no way you can hide in this workout.
There we go. It looks like we've got our first team walking across.
Lane number 9 heading through onto their first set of 10 worm cleans.
That would be the RTF CrossFit Krugersdorp Reapers. They're the first team to pick up that heavy 160 kg worm, and they are 1 rep in. Close behind them, Pack Life Santon.
if you've ever done a worm workout, you know you have to be in absolute unison. If you're looking here, some of these athletes just struggling to get that bag up and onto their shoulder in order for just to clean up overhead, and then you can dump it. But if you guys are not in sync, that bag is going to act like a whip, and it will push you out and spit you out. So you've got to be in time with the rest of your team.
So our team closest to you on your screen right over here, that is lane number 9, the RTF CrossFit Krugersdorp Reapers. Moving through their 5th repetition of the worm cleaner jerks. Still a couple of teams out on the floor that are busy with their their first set of double unders. About half the field moving across to the worm now.
Now remember, once they've done their 10 cleaner jerks, they're going to rotate through. So if you're on the sandbag, you basically move on to the double unders. If you're on the double unders, you move on to the assault bike. And if you're on the assault bike, obviously you move on to the runner. And as I'm sure you've guessed it, from the runner, you're going to move to the sandbag. So you're going to be hurting.
That was Motley Crue CrossFit Red on your screen right over there in lane number 7, directly next to the Pack Life CrossFit Santon team.
Another thing I think we're going to speak about this entire weekend is the fact that this is the first semifinals at altitude. So if you've come from the coastal and you're now, I think it's 6,000 feet up, it's going to hurt. It's going to take a lot on the lungs, especially, like I said, if you're a coastal team, like the teams from Egypt, Durban, Cape Town, PE. So it's going to be interesting to see how that, and every athlete says, that's not a factor. It does. And on the reverse, when an athlete from altitude comes down to sea level, there's just so much air that's what I've been told. Like, it's actually thick, and I feel like they actually have to walk through it. So, you and I, it's coastal kids, so we don't feel it.
Yeah, this is going to be a big one this weekend. This is the first semi-final event in the last 3 years that hasn't been hosted in Cape Town. 2021 and 2022, we had fittest in Cape Town down in the Western Cape. So moving up to Gauteng province now, definitely a higher altitude. We know a couple of teams and individuals moved up to try and acclimatize for the last 2 weeks. And then we've also got those teams that just flew in last night because, working real jobs.
100%. But like you said, I know one of the athletes, Emma, she actually flew up from, I think she's been in Joburg now for 3 weeks, Johannesburg, sorry. Has actually been up here for 3 weeks acclimatizing because the rest of her team is here. And that's the thing, that's the way it looks like. 111 have joined into their worm cleans, but it looks like we've got 3 teams already moving through, and they're going to start on their second round. It's 111 right there, led by, that's Rio in front. So fun and interesting thing, at the Alpha competition last year, December, actually 2 of their team members here, Rio and Slam, were in the men's team, and then Dula in the other team, their second 111 team was the 3rd member there. So they've split their team from a 3-man team to make up 2 4-man or 4 individual teams, 4-man teams.
Yeah, and I think touching on that, we've seen a lot of previous individual athletes, I know we were discussing this morning, decide to move over to the team competition for this year. Why do you think that is?
So I'm going to throw it out there. The fact that, in the whole region of Africa, we only get 1 team, 1 male and 1 female, the chances are, they're slim pickings in order to get through. I realize we're not as big a region as some of the other countries and regions around the world, but when you're fighting for 1, it's a lot harder. Whereas if you've got 4 strong athletes in your facility, you can throw together and actually try to really have a crack at this. There is going to be.
Well, we can see here already in that is the 111 team really struggling to get that worm up. Not actually able to pick it up and get it onto the shoulder as a team of 4.
You look at their teammates, they're all having to dive in together and help each other out. This is, like I said, it's a team event. They're going to try many different ways there. They're switching it out to see if this is maybe a better ratio in order to get through these bags. Sorry, these worm cleans. My goodness.
There we go. Looks like we got some movement going again. A little bit of communication and a short break.
I was about to say that communication is going to be key, especially, in every workout, but this one, like if you see now, once they're all together, if there's a delay, there you go, all went to toffee simply because of a lack of communication. If you're not going to communicate and be on point, you need a leader.
And that was a matter of a split-second change in the first athlete at the front there picking up that bag.
Like I said, I mean, altitude for these guys in Egypt, I think, is like 100 meters. So they're way out of their depth. But I think they actually also flew in yesterday or the day before. So I'm going to try to pop down later on and try to have a chat to one of these athletes, or any athlete from the coast, actually, and just try to see, like, does it make a very big difference having come from, obviously, a sea level? I mean, Matt, you and I ran up the stairs earlier this morning, and I was out of breath. So I'll tell you now, for me, it's terrible. Well, she is in the pain cave and dialed in right now. Look at the determination. She knows it hurts, but she's not going to give up 1 millisecond. I say this and she rests.
And a strong grip there. You can see she's grabbed her entire hand using her other hand. Whereas I've seen a couple of the guys literally hanging on by a fingertip.
She's actually gone for a hold, how do I say this? A more technical hold. She's gone for the long side of the bag. Obviously, they're cylindrical, so it means you've got a longer side and a shorter side, as you can see in your screens on the right-hand side there. She actually opted to hold for a longer grip. Obviously, maybe she's found that distributes the weight a little bit better across her body. Oh.
We've got a bit of confusion on the bag with the unboxed or FBDV rookies. And this is all of these athletes' second round. So we've all made one change now, switching between their machine. They all have to move through this workout in a clockwise direction. So whichever athlete started on the runner has to move over to the bag second. The athlete that started on the bag has to move over to the double unders, and the double unders across to the assault bike. That is the only way that these athletes may move around this.
You know, I think another aspect that's going to be interesting to talk about is being in the African region. Obviously, we get clubbed by sort of international trade, exchange rates, etc., etc. So it is good to see, and I'm interested to see across the weekend how some of these teams have tackle this, because I know there are facilities out there that don't have access to an assault runner. So, how many times have you actually had the opportunity to run an assault runner? How comfortable with it are you? Same with a heavy sandbag. How many facilities out there actually have a 200 pound or 150 kg, so that's 75 kg and 90 kg sandbag in order to hold, just to practice?
Over here on screen, we've got Tatum Naidu from Motley Crue CrossFit Red. This is her second semi-final event. She did qualify in the team last year. That actually finished 4th at the end of the weekend.
It's going to be, I was about to say, she drops her bag. It's going to be down to say, like, it's always judges' discretion to see, but I know in the briefing this morning they did say legs locked out. It must be in a bear hug position. Now, I'm not trying to say bad on her, but it just happens that she's on screen. But that looks like a very low kind of carry, more on her hips, less on her bear, on her core and her midriff. If you looked at it again, maybe she's going to, it's not my call. I'm just up in the booth, so please don't hate on me.
We will leave those calls down to the head judge and the judges on the floor stretch.
It's always easier when you're up in the eagle's nest and no one can hear you, see you, or fight with you. I'm pretty sure someone's parents going to hate you, though.
Focusing now on CrossFit Bounty in lane number 4.
Yeah, it looks like we've got 2 teams onto their second set of worms. Remember, there are only two heats. So these are your lower ranked teams in terms of your, 11 to 20. Am I right? I think I'm right on that one.
Yeah, 11 to 19. That is Motley Crue CrossFit Red. That's currently alongside Pack Life. RTF CrossFit Krugersdorp came out hot, but they don't seem to be onto their second set of worm cleaner jerks yet.
The current standings are based on obviously how teams did in the online quarterfinals. There's so much English I'm going to have to find today. I'm running out of English airtime.
Well, you've got a long weekend ahead of you. We better get it together.
But yeah, like I said, it's down to the fact that, like, I just lost my train of thought. I'm going to keep quiet for a bit.
This is Motley Crue CrossFit Blue that we're focusing on now.
Oh, you can see the pain on these athletes' faces having to hold up that sandbag. And remember, you're working as long as you're holding it, your athlete can keep double undering. So it's kind of all on you right now. Like, how much pain can you endure? And as I say this again, he puts it down. I seem to be jinxing these athletes.
Focusing there now on Gerald van Bluck from Motley Crue CrossFit.
found my train of thought again. So as I was saying, is having come from an online qualifier, you're in your own box, your own music, your own time. I know you had X amount of time to do the workouts, which does change it, but now you're in an in-person competition. So again, have you had a chance to try these? And that's going to see how they stack up tomorrow, because for at the moment, it's just purely ranked on how they came out of the online competition. Now, being an in-person competition, tomorrow's going to be interesting.
The variables are out of your control.
100%.
And as you said, just going back to that, the accessibility to some of the equipment that we have seen and are still going to see throughout the rest of the weekend, it is very unlikely that your regular CrossFit affiliate here in South Africa just has access or has a 90 kg bag laying in a gym, or an assault runner for that matter. We tend to run outside.
We live in a beautiful part of the world, let's be honest. We can. And, we can run all year. We don't get the snow that the Northern Hemisphere guys get. We don't get the blistering heat, sort of that like the equatorial region sort of gets. So we're very fortunate here. And again, like I said, we'll all run outside.
So I do think that assault runner in the game is going to be a big rhythm thing for a lot of athletes throughout the weekend, the teams and individuals, just because it's completely different. It's brand new to, I would say, about 80% of the field.
100%. And again, if we're looking at it purely financial, that's about an 80,000 Rand piece of equipment. So, how many affiliates just kind of have the availability to throw down 80,000 Rand for one piece of equipment to maybe be used here and there, maybe now and then, and for specific athletes?
Very few. And Stretch, you're a boxer yourself, so am I. So I know, coming from this, kind of equipment budgeting side, there are just more important things that we would want to get into the box for the kind of holistic approach of being an affiliate, not always focused on the 1%.
100%. I think obviously as a box owner and a facility owner, it's our job. I mean, yourself, your block with boxers?
Yeah. CrossFit Bloberg down in Cape Town.
And that's a big difference then. Like, I'm coaching CrossFit in KZN, so it's a difference in terms of like how you would program. If you have one assault runner, you can do in essence a EMOM kind of workout where your class rotates through. But realistically, in order to make it work, coming a bit unstuck there on your screens, you can see, I think that is RTF.
I think we are with Bounty, CrossFit Bounty at the moment in lane number 4. RTF is catching up. They are now the 4th team to take their bag up to the 3rd set. But CrossFit Bounty on your screens at the moment is having a bit of a hard time getting this worm overhead.
As we said, it's that communication right there. And you said earlier, that split second of go or hold on or wait, or that's going to make a big difference in terms of how this team's able to tackle this entire workout.
As you can see on your screen there, in lanes 7, 8, and 9, the only 3 teams with the worms through and starting their 3rd round and their 3rd transition on this workout.
Matt, if you had to do this workout, what would you A, look forward to, and B, dread?
I don't want to do this workout.
100%. Like, I'm looking at, I'm a tall athlete, so that sandbag is going to tear through my midriff and my core like you have no idea. Also, just getting it up. And then secondly, maybe I think I would enjoy the assault runner. It kind of tends to favor the levers of a longer athlete.
Yeah, I think the static holds in general are just a massive mental battle. You're just standing there with that bag, resting on your lungs and knowing that you still have a lot of work ahead of you to do. If you're not mentally strong enough to get through that, that's kind of where your workout is really going to take its toll on you.
And the other thing that we can discuss all day, actually, given as long as we've got this sandbag involved, is, are you predominantly a belly breather as an athlete, or are you a chest breather? If you've got the capability to switch between the two, like this athlete on screen now, she can breathe, looks like she's breathing more heavily through her chest, which means that her core is able to be a lot more contracted while she holds into that bag. However, if you are a predominantly belly breather, that is an absolute nightmare, because you need your guts, obviously, to expand in order to get a full breath in there. Looks like we're back with 111 on the bag now. Trailing a little bit, but not too far. I mean, if they got a really good back end, they might be able to pull back up.
As you saw in the lane just next to them, that's Motley Crue CrossFit Red. Also just matching the bag and moving back for their 3rd round of this workout.
that bag is heavy. I mean, you can see these athletes are not small or beginners. I mean, dare I say, semi-professional athletes attempting this in order to all punch that one lonely ticket through to the game. So there is nothing to leave out. You have to leave everything out on the floor, every workout. There is no, it's cool, if we take this one easy, we'll jump back in the next one, or event 3 is our event. There is no opportunity. With only one ticket getting punched to the games, it's all or nothing.
The nearest team on your screen here is the Unboxed Rookies, CrossFit FBDV, their second team, coming up from Cape Town as well.
Matt, we have a lot of Cape Town teams. Do you know a lot of these teams? Have you actually been able to sort of pop through and visit some of their facilities?
I have been able to visit the majority of the CrossFit affiliates down in the Western Cape. I've also done a couple of competitions with particularly the first male athlete over there, Evan Gilmore. Quite a legend.
Good guy.
We throw down at the locals at least 2 or 3 times a year.
I don't know if you guys can hear it, but I know you just saw her scream on your screen, but we actually heard that scream up here in the I'm going to call it the bird's nest for now, the booth if you want. But
I like it.
Yeah, that is painful. Like, you can see the pain on these athletes' faces. Like I said, that is a 75 kg hold for ladies. And if you're out there and you're watching the live stream, hey, hi. But B, I tell you what, go find something 75 kgs and just hold it on your stomach like that. And I'll tell you what, do it for a minute, and you message us and let us know how that felt.
On your screen now, we've got Pack Life Santon leading the pack and currently leading this heat. But hot on their heels, Motley Crue CrossFit Red is coming back at them in lane number 7.
Do you think, obviously, in the next heat, sort of your top 10 teams, we're going to see a lot faster, smoother transition? Or do you think we're going to kind of see one of those aspects where the ratio between work and rest is very close to sort of heat 2? Or do you think we're going to see a massive dial-up in the speed and the transitions?
I really don't know what to expect from the teams this year. I know that the top 3 are huge contenders. And I think, the fluidity of just moving through workouts as a team, this is where we're going to be able to see the teams that have trained together for the last couple of months leading up to this, or even years, repeat teams that have been putting in. I know, for instance, that Wolfpack team has been 2 years in the making.
Yeah.
And that is known to everyone, and they are coming to punch that ticket to Madison.
It's also an interesting fact, that team, like I said, 2 years in the making. Before that, they had old juggernaut, I've just forgotten his name. Wow.
Justin Swart.
Justin Swart, also originally coming from Cape CrossFit, now opening his own facility and having 3 teams here. So it's amazing to see athletes obviously move out on their own and then take that expertise that they've learned from going to the games or whatever it is, any international and local competition, and they're now pushing it through their team members and their facilities in order to just raise the level across the board.
On your screens now, we've got Pack Life Santon and Motley Crue CrossFit Red. They are going at it with each other. At the exact same point of this workout, Motley Crue moving nice and smoothly through this as a team.
As you can see, both these teams, communication on point. They lift together, up on the shoulder. They all dip even at the same time. Looks like the first rest here on the left-hand side of the screen.
And this workout carries a 28-minute time cap.
There you go. I think Pack Life, that was there. They got what 2 reps looked like for Pack Life and Motley Crue. There you go. It looks like Motley Crue have taken the lead now.
Motley Crue have definitely taken the lead over Pack Life and are moving back to their final round of assault bike, assault runner, double unders and sandbag hold. But with just under 5 minutes left of this workout, do you foresee any of these teams finishing inside the time cap stretch?
To be honest with you, that's going to be a tough call, especially for this heat. Like I said, maybe the top 2 have a chance, but considering there's only 4 rounds and we're already into 25 minutes, it's going to come down to the wire. Given if you look at it, just a sheer ratio, 28 minutes worth, that gives you about 7 minutes across the board for each one in order to get through. So, there is a chance. They're just going to have to work really hard for these last, 4 minutes.
In lane number 9, next to Pack Life CrossFit, we've got RTF moving towards their 3rd set of worm cleaner jerks. Pack Life heading back onto the machines now, and they are really just going to have to give it one last push because this is going to come down to a matter of reps between your lane 7 and 8.
Oh, no, 100%. Oh, there we go. You can see there that communication, as we spoke about. We're going to continue to speak about. Where's your athlete going? She just decided to leave. I mean, oh, there, off to get some chalk. But there again, like I said, if you make a big mistake, you've got to readjust the worm, you've got to reline it up, and it's vital seconds or positions that you might need. Now look, you can see they've got to try to line the worm back up, they've got to set it to get. Now, if you're watching the clock, that's about 20, 25, almost 30 seconds of time lost. And if you're chasing to squeak through and obviously trying to get into that top 10 position, you can't afford to play around like that. You can see the boss man there that looks like the leader in the red shirt right in front. He's calling all the shots, and really you can see it. You can see it on his face. He's calling it up, over, dump. There you go. With 3 minutes remaining, we're going to have to see what the athletes have got here, if they're going to be able to squeak through, and how many, if any, are going to be able to make it through this time cap.
With this RTF team on your screen now, 2 of their athletes are repeat semi-finals team athletes as well. So this is their second semi-finals event. But the other 2 of the athletes are brand new to semi-finals.
And the thing we also don't often speak about is, like, a lot of these athletes, the semi-finals is the pinnacle. That's just where they hope to get. Like, I know some of the teams that I've spoken to, they're like, we're so happy to be here. It's a year, like you said, a year in the making, or 6 months. Like, this is, in essence, for them, the pinnacle. This is where they want to go to. Some of these athletes I've spoken to, I'm not going to mention any names, have actually said to me, like, Stretch, I know I'm not going to games. I know it's not going to happen. But you know what? To know that I made semi-finals, I'm in the top 20 teams on the continent, or, the top 30 athletes on the continent, male and female, isn't it? It's incredible just in its own right.
And as you say, I think semi-finals is the biggest event that is hosted in South Africa. So for these guys just to be, representing themselves, representing their boxes and their teams on this level, semi-finals is the pinnacle point of every year for these athletes.
It looks like CrossFit Bounty on your screen. Gotta love them. I'm jinxing the system. I'm telling you right now.
90 seconds left on the clock.
The other thing is, if you look to, it's not like these are just weekend warrior judges. A lot of these judges that are on the floor actually, bare minimum level 1, but a lot of them are level 2, and facility owners in their own right. So, they're out there making sure that the standards are being met. With just 1 minute on the clock, have the athlete, what have you got left in the tank? You still got a whole nother workout just today alone.
This is Team Bounty that we're focusing on your screen. They've got 3 worm clean and jerks left, 45 seconds, and they would love to get back into that final round of repetitions.
I think the hardest thing is, obviously, if you're in the, let's call it the bottom heat, meaning 11 to 19, you're coming out there and you're thrown down. The nice thing that they haven't allowed is athletes are not allowed to watch. So no athletes in any other heat is going to get an advantage by watching something unless they are logged into the live stream. That we can't stop.
Bounty over here is just moving into their final round. So we've got 4 teams sitting in their final round.
There we have it. You called it. Not a single team finishing this workout up, and look at them all hit the ground. They are shattered.
And that concludes the opening event for our Rebel Renegade Games, our team heat number 1, event number 1, and not one team making it through. It looks like the heat has been taken by Motley Crue CrossFit Red, and then shortly followed by Pack Life Santon.
There you go. Chalk that up to the local South African teams. I mean, there are a lot of them, but still, hey, heads up. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to revel in that one as a proud South African myself. So, good, big up South Africa currently. We beat the Egyptians.